Well, outside of parents protesting middle schoolers in Olathe, the only people more unappealing than that are those who are trying to politicize Team USA winning the gold medal and then showing up at the State of the Union the other night. I mean, they deserve each other, to be honest. Even though they're on different sides of the political aisle, if you're a grown adult showing up to a middle school in Olathe and protesting kids who don't even understand what they're doing a walkout, find a hobby. If you are someone who is upset that Team USA showed up at the State of the Union, find a hobby. Maybe you can find a hobby together, and that hobby at least is being miserable, if nothing else. So I'm reading this piece in the Kansas City Star. It's an opinion piece. Dion Leffler writes it here. Only Donald Trump could tarnish U.S. Olympic hockey gold. No, only you could tarnish U.S. Olympic hockey gold in your own mind. You're allowing Trump, because of your TDS, to tarnish U.S. Olympic hockey gold. That's what's going on here. You know, I tell my kids all the time, do not, and it's hard, we're all guilty of this, do not let somebody else control your emotions, right? Whether it's some kid in school who's being a bozo or whatever it might be, your sister's getting on your nerves, and it's hard. It's hard for adults, never mind kids. But I say it to them all the time. Try not to let somebody else's actions impact your emotions in a negative way. Well, on this issue with U.S. Olympic hockey, I mean, people have lost their minds. They've lost their minds. Do you think that if Kamala Harris was in the White House right now and she invited Team USA for a quick walk-in standing ovation, people on the right would be like, traitors? I don't think so. I mean, the Chiefs went to the White House with Joe Biden, and outside of trying to find a funny moment where maybe, you know, Joe Biden called Patrick Mahomes Michael Vick or something, I was looking for one of those kind of funny moments, but at no point did I say, you can't go. This guy's, oh, boy, he's a bad president. You can't go to the White House. No, it was like, all right, yeah, go. Something funny might come out of it, but go. Because this stuff isn't about politics. But, man, I'm reading this piece, and I can't believe the Star published this. Because, yeah, I know it's an opinion column, and anyone can have an opinion, right? But at the same time, it is, oh my goodness, it is the most crybaby column I've ever seen, because it's just pure emotion falling onto the screen here as I read it. All right, here we go. I'm not going to read the whole thing because that would be torture for you, and we've got Ask Mundo Anything coming up in a few minutes. But the article goes on the note, after watching the U.S. men's Olympic hockey team beat the Canadians in Sunday's gold medal game, I felt the sense of Olympic pride I had not felt since 1980, writes Dion Leffler in the Kansas City Star. Sure, Team USA wasn't as overmatched as the random college kids that Coach Herb Brooks molded, but I had that same kind of feeling I did 46 years ago. Let the celebration begin, writes Leffler. Well, the golden glow of the moment didn't last long because along comes Donald Trump. Oh, my God. No, you didn't allow the glow to last because of your severe case of TDS. You didn't allow the glow. You let Trump ruin your gold medal glow. Let's be clear. You allowed him, just like my 4-year-old might. You allowed Trump to ruin the Olympic glow. That's what happened here. Don't blame Trump because you've got stage 5 TDS. Don't do it, okay? Please. And then he goes on to write about how Trump, was an insufferable jerk in his words with the phone call in the locker room after the fact, and how he shouldn't have said, what he said about, well, if I don't invite the women, they're going to impeach me. The way you guys reacted to that is exactly why the joke is actually funny. Like, the way that there was backlash to that comment is actually why Trump was right on the joke itself, because if they had power in the House right now, they might actually impeach him over that statement in and of itself, John. That's where we're at with this whole thing.
I was real fascinated that the distinction of a woman has come into play here at all. Right? Yes. From these people. Suddenly we now realize.
Okay. I am glad that they can now define what a woman is. You're right about that.
Normalize the bulge. We are normalizing the bulge.
Okay, that's enough. Article in the Star goes on the right here. As an American, it's embarrassing and painful to watch, but if you're into Trump-related self-abuse, you can find it here. Of course, our women's team couldn't give Trump the answer he deserved to his backhanded invitation. He's like the office leech who thinks he's God's gift to women, who may be not in their direct chain of command, but vindictive and powerful enough to make their lives miserable. This thing is out of control. Like, even by the Star standards, I can't believe this thing got published. The article wraps up by saying here it was almost a year ago that Trump issued an executive order banning transgender athletes from women's sports, which he called demeaning, unfair, and dangerous to women and girls. The proper response to that would be, quote, look in the mirror, Donald. Trump's comments showed exactly how he and his followers really feel about women in sports, an afterthought to be tolerated but not taken seriously, occasionally exploitable to score political points, in the unending culture war to strip transgender Americans of their basic human rights and dignity. This is a real piece in the Star by a guy named Dion Leffler. I would ask Dion this. Are real women athletes more bothered by Trump's joke on a phone call on Sunday morning, or are they more bothered by having to compete with men in their sports? What do you think they're actually, if you were to poll women privately and anonymously, what do you think they have a bigger issue with? Having to compete against guys in a volleyball match where they're getting spiked in the face and getting concussed, which has happened around the country, or like Trump making a goofy joke? Leffler ends this piece saying, so the next time you see a MAGA conservative carrying on about women in sports and why they need protecting, ask them to name one member of the gold medal winning U.S. women's Olympic hockey team. That should shut them up pretty fast. Well, I'll be honest. I couldn't name one guy on the men's team until Sunday morning. I couldn't. Not a hockey fan. Now I know Jack Hughes and the goalie Hellebuck. I don't know his first name. So I know one and a half guys.
Yeah, 1.5.
1.5 guys on the men's team. I don't know any names on the women's team. I admit that. I know 1.5 guys on the men's team. So that means you're owning me by saying if I don't know anyone on the women's team, therefore I should not try to protect women when I have 3 daughters in their own sports from potentially having to compete against a male. Just so I understand your argument. That's your argument? So what, if I can name the whole roster, am I now right when it comes to men and women's sports? If I can name the third string goalie, am I now correct in what I believe to be the case when it comes to who should compete against who? Because that's kind of the logic I'm reading through here in the Kansas City Star. Wow. That was maybe the worst column I have ever seen in the newspaper. And
wait
by
till
the way,
tomorrow.
Yeah, that is a high bar, man.
Yes, sir. Yes,
that is
sir.
a real high bar. Holy smokes. Wow. Okay.